Have you ever wanted to make adjustments to your photo inside of Lightroom Classic, but instead of having to have all the panels take up real estate, work full screen and just look at your image front and center? And so with this interesting device called the TourBox, we're able to do this. The one I have right now is a TourBox Elite Plus, and this has a new dynamic panel which enables you to adjust all the different sliders directly on your photo without the interface by using these different knobs. I'm in the develop module right now, and you can see there's a little bit of an overlay. Now this overlay, I can move it around wherever I want it. I can even put it on a second monitor if I like, which is what I'm going to do right now. But let's go into full screen. So I'm just going to hit the F key, and here we are. And generally speaking, this is where I'd want to edit my photo, but I don't really have the sliders and the controls. So on this D-pad, if I go up, we get white balance. If I go down, we get tone controls. We get presence controls, and we get color mixer all right here on the screen. So why don't we start with the basic tone controls, which is usually where I'll start. So I can make my adjustments here without having to worry about the panel. So all I need to do is just use the wheel and also take me up and down, and I can scroll up and down. Now, if I roll over, I have the option to expand this and just see all the sliders at once, which is what I prefer. So I'm just going to go up to the exposure, and then I'm just going to turn the knob to adjust my exposure. Let's go down, adjust the contrast. Let's recover some of our highlights. So one of the nice things about working this way is we just get a level of precision that we won't get with a mouse. If we look at this, right now I'm just going between -24 and 25 in single increments. If I use my mouse, I can actually use these sliders, but notice how difficult it is to get that exact setting. If I go out of full screen, you can also see as we adjust it, it's adjusting right here inside the menu, but it's very, very hard to get individual. So if I'm trying to go from 17 to 18, see, it's hard. But if I turn the knob, I can go exactly 17 or 18. So that's one of the nice things about working here. Let me just hit the F key, go back into full screen again. And the other thing is it's just more natural to just kind of turn this knob than it is to try and slide a mouse backwards and forwards. All right, let's keep going. So we're going to do the shadow now. Let's open up our shadow a little bit. And I'm going to pop the whites. Let's pull back on the blacks, give this a little bit more body. I prefer to use the whites and blacks separate than the contrast slider because this gives me control. All right, so now we've done that. Maybe we want to do some of the presence. All I need to do is just tap the left D button, and now we're in the presence. Maybe I'll give this a little bit of texture. I don't usually use clarity a lot. I might use dehaze just a touch on here. And I'm going to pop the vibrance. Usually when I pop the vibrance, I take the saturation back just a couple of turns. Might just warm it up just a little bit. I kind of like that. And then we can adjust the individual colors by tapping, and we have the color mixer here. And with this, we can just choose whichever color we want. Right, maybe we're going to pop the greens. And then we just go down to maybe luminance. And we can brighten up those greens a little bit. I'll pop the saturation on those a little and push the hue. And now we'll go down to the yellows. And as you can see, we can just easily go in here and start to adjust it. You might hear this clicking, and that's because we've got haptic feedback. So it actually feels like we're using real buttons. So I can feel the individual clicks. Notice I can do the before and the after just by using these. And by the way, if I want to hide the panel, just tap away. So let me show you how the dynamic panel works as well when we're doing things like masks. I'm going to go in, I'm going to create a mask. And by the way, I could program one of these buttons to create these masks for me if I wanted. But in this case, we're just going to go through and we're just going to choose a landscape mask. And we can see we've got different parts. We've got mountains, we've got architecture, which is the bridge, we've got water, and we've got natural ground. Let's create masks out of those. So I go into the mask here and I do something, say, like the natural ground. And then I start to make adjustments here. Maybe I want to adjust the temperature. And notice now it's affecting just that mask. And I can go into all the different properties here. Maybe I want to adjust the bridge. Let's choose architecture. Let's adjust the contrast of it. I'll lower the contrast and maybe put a little bit of blacks into it. Nice. And by the way, these panels can be moved anywhere we want. So I could put this over here if I wanted. And also if I tap, I can bring on the HUD, which can also be moved around wherever we want. Once again, I could also put that on a second screen if I want. And this HUD's nice because it shows me all the different things I can do. All right, so let's go here. We want to choose remove and make sure we're using generative remove. Adjust the size. I'm just going to tap there. Maybe we want to get rid of the rest of the people in here. And we just hit remove. And notice that's looking nicer on that bridge now. So if I want, I could grab like the graduated filter and we could apply that gradient. Notice how quickly and easily I can do that. And once again, make the adjustments right there on that tool that I'm working on. And if I wanted to clean that up a little bit, maybe I want to subtract and I will use the brush. I can adjust the size of that brush, paint it away from the areas I don't want it. And as you see, it just gives us so much freedom. Let's go back into full screen mode again. So we've done some kind of retouching here. So these different wheels can also be pushed. So I'm just going to tap on this wheel. I set this up for a vignette because it's something that I do quite a lot. And notice how I can create that vignette around the edges. And I can adjust other things, such as the midpoint. And notice how I'm just working in full screen this whole time. Let's adjust that roundness a little bit. I want more feather. And you can see I can add that vignette right there without going out of full screen mode. So as I said, you can tap different things. You can set different buttons to do different things. Let's have a look at some more just basic adjustments here. I'm going to adjust that temperature. And give it a little bit more pop here in the tone. Let's increase that exposure a little bit. There we go. So one of the things that's interesting about this box versus some of the other control surfaces, if you look at it, so these buttons and knobs are all different shapes. There's one on the side here. There's one on the top. So the thing is, they all feel different. So you don't have to look at the controller. You can look directly on the screen. And then once you get used to this, it takes a little time to get your muscle memory kind of kicked in. But then when you do, you can do some very fast editing without even thinking about the interface. It just goes out of the way and you're just making these intuitive adjustments very easily. Now, as far as learning curve, you do need to work in the muscle memory, but there's nothing new to learn because these sliders are the same sliders that you've been using in Lightroom. It comes pre-programmed. So everything I'm using here today, except for the vignette, is straight out of the box. So I didn't have to set anything up out of the box. However, we certainly can adjust a lot of different things. Let me just go back to the before and after. Here we are before, and there we are the after. So we can see, we can look at that. That's quite significant. Or we can look at them side by side. Now, there's other things we can do, though. We can switch modules here. So say I'm just right now, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to go into the library module. So I can just go here and then just tap. Now I'm in library. And now that I'm in the library, and so the dynamic controls are now going to work to scroll through the different pictures. We can set star ratings. We can do all kinds of different things right here. So as you can see here, there's so many things that we can customize, we can set it up. And it doesn't just work in Lightroom, it also works in other applications, such as Photoshop. So I can use this alongside my tablet. Say I want to dodge and burn in Photoshop. I can tap here, I can go into my brush tools, and I can set things like the size here. And here I can adjust the flow. And start to dodge and burn, or add some light to my photograph. Just quickly before and after. So for my overall feel of this, though, is when you grab this, it's actually a little bit heavier than you would think, which is a good thing. It doesn't move around. It's really solid. The other thing is this will work wirelessly, but when I plug it in, I can also use it in wired mode. Notice that little light shows there that it's charging right now. While it's working wirelessly, it's in Bluetooth, and there's actually 2 channels of Bluetooth, so I can connect this to a Mac and a PC. Or on the TourBox Elite Plus, which is this one here, also works on an iPad. So I could set up the Bluetooth to work with my computer here, my Mac, and an iPad, and then just switch to go between them. And if you do like to take it on the road, it does come with a little travel case here, which they sent me. It's even got TourBox on there. I could just open that up, pop it in that case, and it's ready for travel. Okay, I'm going to be honest. When they first sent me this, I was quite skeptical. I already know my keyboard shortcuts. I'm used to using a mouse. And I was like, do I really need this device? When I realized I could work in full screen, that definitely gave me a reason to try it out. But I really love the experience working with the full screen dynamic panel. Right now, it's only for Lightroom Classic, but they have announced that it's coming for other products. So I really look forward to seeing this in things like Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and some of the other applications that I use. But right now, it will work in Photoshop, as you saw. It will also work in Premiere Pro and hundreds of other applications. And who would I recommend this for? Someone that's doing a lot of photo editing, a professional, a serious enthusiast. I think this is a great device. Now, if you're just a casual user and you don't do a lot of adjustments and you just occasionally use Lightroom, it might not be necessarily worth the investment for you, especially if you're not going to be using it enough for your muscle memory to kind of like kick in. But if you're doing regular adjustments, I think you're going to find this really quite a useful tool. But I'd like to know your thoughts and comments underneath. Let me know. And if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and you won't miss any of my tutorials. Until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.